On the quarterback side of everything that is happening, there were two reports, or I guess one report, one belief, prediction, we'll say, on the Steelers quarterback situations. We will start with Russell Wilson. We'll toss Justin Fields in afterwards. This is from Jeremy Fowler saying, quote, Wilson has also been connected to the Giants by a few people this week. He visited with the Giants last free agency, and New York is on his radar as a potential option in 2025. We'll go to the other one here, where the 33rd team's Tyler Brook predicts that the Baltimore Ravens could be a top landing spot for Justin Fields. Quote, while Fields would likely never see the field, which is a wild way to start this conversation, he'd have an opportunity to work side by side with arguably the best quarterback in the NFL right now, Lamar Jackson. The potential three-time MVP has found out how to develop as a lethal passer without sacrificing his mobility, which is something that Fields could benefit from. For the Ravens, there aren't many other suitable QB2 options that fit what they do. Journeyman veteran Josh Johnson was the backup this year, but the 38-year-old is unlikely to come back this offseason, with retirement more likely on the table. I think we could shut the Justin Fields one closer, or sooner, I would say. Two trains of thought. The first one, the Ravens would absolutely love Justin Fields. I think they would admire that pickup, that signing. It would fit perfectly. It would be exactly what they're looking for. My second one is Justin Fields wouldn't even pick up the phone. What are you negotiating? I'm 26 years old. Let me go learn from Lamar Jackson so that I could be a backup from Lamar, learn how to be a backup to Lamar and remain a backup to Lamar. No, your opportunity is right now. You're not going to go work behind Lamar Jackson for a year, do nothing, fade into the NFL, and then the league's going to be like, you know what? We need Justin Fields. Somebody's got to take a shot at Justin Fields. No, that doesn't work out. Look at Jameis Winston. Look at Mitch Trubisky. Chances are that that's just the beginning of the end of your starting career in the NFL, or at least your guaranteed starting career in the NFL. This is the best opportunity for Justin Fields to land a job this offseason and say, I am a starter. I get the full year to see if I am a starter or if I'm good enough to be a starter, and teams will give me that guarantee. The Pittsburgh Steelers will likely be one of them. He's not going to Baltimore. That will not happen. I mean, maybe in some wild scenario where Lamar trips on a branch or something and, breaks his toe and can't play for the first 15 weeks of the season, and the Ravens say, Justin, come try to win a Super Bowl with us. I mean, like that could change things. But I don't see it just happening where Justin Fields is the backup quarterback to Lamar Jackson. That one was absolutely wild to me. It's almost as if nobody was paying attention. I like Tyler Brook. I think he writes some good stuff. I like the 33rd team. I think they write great stuff. Wild prediction on the Baltimore Ravens being a landing spot for Justin Fields. I do have thoughts on Russ, but we'll close the door on Justin. What you got?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing you just did. I'm sure Tyler Brook is good at his job, but that's just plain freaking disrespectful to Justin Fields. Like, by my count, there could be up to 9 teams looking for a starting quarterback, probably 8 because Minnesota's likely going to go with J.J. McCarthy when he's healthy. So 8 teams. You're telling me that Justin Fields isn't going to get a starting look on 8 teams? You're telling me there are 8 better quarterbacks in this year where there's only 2 in the NFL draft and there's very little in free agency, that there are 8 quarterbacks who teams are going to look at and say, yeah, I'd rather have them than take a shot on Justin Fields, especially considering the Pittsburgh Steelers have him in the building and have said nothing but glowing recommendations about Justin Fields. They've only been complimentary of what Justin is as a person and as a player, and they're excited about what his future is. If they're saying that, you're telling me other teams in the league, the other 7 that are looking for a quarterback, are going to be like, no, we ignored what he did in Pittsburgh. We ignored any potential he showed in Chicago. We just looked at his record in Chicago and we buried him like most people on the internet do. No. These are NFL franchises. It's Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders in the draft. Okay, that's 2. You're telling me that outside of Aaron Rodgers, who somebody might want to take a shot on over Justin, and Matt Stafford, who may or may not even be traded by the Los Angeles Rams, that they are that many better quarterback options than Justin Fields? No, it's plain disrespectful. And Justin would never sit there and say, yeah, let me go sit behind a future Hall of Fame 2-time MVP, could have been 3-time MVP, and really just close the door on any chance that I have in this league. No, it's not going to happen.
It would never happen. I love all the backup stuff, the backup conversations with Justin Fields. It's almost as if nobody's paying attention to the fact that we, along with many others, have reported that the Pittsburgh Steelers want Justin Fields to be their starting quarterback in 2025. So I just think that the offer would have to be absolutely insane for him to say, I'm going to pass up that opportunity. I'm going to go to Baltimore and be a backup, or wherever and be a backup. Just would never happen. On the other side of this, when it comes to the Giants and Russell Wilson, who would be a landing spot for Justin Fields, probably before Russell Wilson in this instance. There are many trains of thought here when it comes to Fowler's report. The first one is the wording, okay? Because we've been on the what is being planted as seeds in this NFL free agency. Let me reread this for you. Quote, he visited with the Giants last free agency, and New York is on his radar as a potential option in 2025. I don't know where the New York Giants stand. I think they'd be a great fit for Russell Wilson, to be honest with you. I think that works out well. It gives you a veteran that you're not going to bench, that gives you a ceiling that's probably at least 6 or 7 wins, which is pretty good for the Giants. I don't think that they want to win a boatload of games, but they want to win enough to show that they could take steps forward. I think that he is a leader that they do not have, nor have had over the last couple of years, that they desperately need. I think he fits a lot of good things there. I don't know if the Giants are interested in Russ, and what I was told over the weekend was that Vegas probably isn't as strong of a landing spot for Russell Wilson as we currently believe it is. And we already know the Steelers side of things, and we could rehash it if everybody would like, but the Steelers right now are looking at Russ as not really an option for them in 2025. And the Raiders were expected to be the team for him. From what I've heard, have been told that might not be the case. The Giants make a lot of sense for Russell Wilson. I'd be okay with it. I think more and more of these teams are going to pop up as potential landing spots for Russell Wilson over the next coming weeks, because his time in Pittsburgh is likely done. And stuff like this, where conversations are, the Giants are a team that could watch out for Russell Wilson. They definitely could be. There will be probably 4 or 5 more of them that emerge over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think as teams kind of check in with certain quarterbacks and realize that, hey, maybe that's not the best option for us, Russ is going to be a lot of teams' fallback options. And again, I hate to say it like that because it sounds like a shot at Russ, but it's just true. You look at the quarterback market, there are 2 or 3 quarterbacks that people are going to call and going to check in on. I understand that people are down on Aaron Rodgers, but people are going to check in on Aaron Rodgers. I think personally that he's going to be the one that lands with the Las Vegas Raiders. But Matt Stafford's going to be another one that everybody is going to call and say, well, what do you want? Well, what's the deal? How much does he want to play? What's he looking for? What's his motivation? And I think that's going to be another one. And then I think a lot of teams are going to try to wait a little bit more towards that free agency period where they're going to say, all right, do we really think that getting Russell Wilson is better than trying to build off of what Sam Darnold was able to do in Minnesota? I think that a lot of these teams are going to have number 1 options, but their number 2 option is always going to be, well, Russ is there and he showed some potential. And I think that's going to be the case for a lot of teams. I mean, it's the case for Pittsburgh, right? We're thinking and we're of the mindset that they want to go Justin Fields first. But if the conversations go south on Justin, Russ is probably the number 2 option. Russ is probably the fallback. So it makes a lot of sense, especially for a Giants team that, like you mentioned, that was his first stop last year on his free agency tour. He went to New York before he came to Pittsburgh, and then he got to Pittsburgh and, well, he didn't leave Pittsburgh. Maybe he goes back to New York. It's a big entertainment city, so it fits him. It fits his family, and I think that it fits what he is right now and where that organization is right now, whereas they're not looking to compete for anything. They're looking for something to build from, and Russell Wilson right now is something to kind of put in the middle while they build everything else, and then they can address the quarterback at a later date.
I agree. I think Russ wants to compete for a Super Bowl, but I don't think he's going to have that opportunity. And because of it, he's just going to look, hey, where can I start? I don't want to be a backup. Where can I go and be a starter? The Giants make a lot of sense. Just like you said, there will be a lot of teams that look at him as a fallback option. Pittsburgh will be one of them. But it just kind of feels like the more and more things have gone on, the more I have heard, the more conversations that have been had. I mean, I had conversations over this. The Super Bowl is such an intel, like it is really the first stop of like, we know so much more today than we did a week ago. And just from what I've been told, it's not super likely Russ is a candidate for the Steelers, even as a fallback option. Like maybe if things go really south, but the Steelers expect names to emerge that might fit their bill. And as crazy as it sounds, they might consider names like Aaron Rodgers over Russell Wilson if that presented itself as, again, a fallback option. Their first option is still Justin Fields. But if things go south and they have to change course, they could look at other veterans before they look at Russell Wilson. Mason Rudolph is another name that not the greatest option.
No, I'm just saying that is a glaring indictment of Russell Wilson's chances in Pittsburgh if Mason Rudolph is in the same conversation.
But he is currently where we stand. I would believe that he is. I'm not saying I know that as a definite. I'm just saying I would believe that he is. So we'll see what happens.